Have you ever locked eyes with someone who felt like they were written into your soul, only to realize they're a chapter you'll never live? That heart-pounding connection, the kind that makes time stop and whispers, "This is it," only to slip through your fingers like sand. It's not just chance. It's not a cruel cosmic prank. According to Carl Jung, the genius who unraveled the mysteries of the human psyche, these encounters are no accident. They're a sacred invitation to meet the person you're destined to become. Imagine this. The universe handpicks someone to awaken parts of you that have been asleep for years. Your courage, your passion, your untamed dreams, then dares you to chase them without ever holding their hand. Why? Because this isn't about love stories that end in happily ever after. It's about the love that cracks you open, that forces you to face your deepest truths and step into your fullest self. In this video, we'll dive into Carl Jung's profound wisdom to uncover why the universe sends you someone you can't be with and how their presence is the key to unlocking your hidden potential. Ready to discover what this heartbreak is trying to teach you? Stick with us, because this journey will change how you see love, loss, and yourself forever. When you meet someone who sets your heart ablaze but remains just out of reach, it's tempting to think they're the missing piece of your puzzle. But Carl Jung, the visionary psychologist who plumbed the depths of the human psyche, would tell you something different. They're not your completion, they're your mirror. This person, who feels like they were carved from your dreams, is reflecting back the parts of you that have been hiding in the shadows, waiting to be claimed. Carl Jung called this phenomenon projection, an unconscious process where we see in others what we haven't yet embraced in ourselves. And when the universe sends you someone you can't be with, it's not to torture you, it's to show you the potential you've buried deep inside. Let's break it down. That magnetic pull you feel, the one that makes your chest ache and your mind race, isn't just about them. It's about the qualities they embody, qualities that resonate because they're already inside you, dormant and unexpressed. Maybe they're fearless in a way you've always wanted to be. Maybe their creativity sparks a fire you've long ignored. Or maybe their authenticity makes you realize you've been wearing a mask for too long. Carl Jung believed these encounters are orchestrated by your psyche to wake you up, to nudge you toward individuation, the journey of becoming your truest, most integrated self. Take Emma, for example. At 32, she was stuck in a predictable routine, a stable job, a safe relationship, a life that checked all the boxes but left her feeling hollow. Then she met Luca, an artist who seemed to live in a world of color and possibility. He painted with a passion that made her heart race, and their conversations felt like coming home. But Luca was married, with a life that could never include her. At first, Emma was devastated. Why would fate dangle this connection in front of her only to snatch it away? But as she reflected, she realized something profound. Luca wasn't showing her what she lacked. He was showing her what she'd forgotten. As a child, Emma loved to draw, filling sketchbooks with vibrant worlds. But somewhere along the way, she'd traded her pencils for practicality, convinced that art was a childish dream. Luca's creativity wasn't foreign, it was a mirror of her own unexpressed passion. The ache she felt wasn't just for him, it was for the part of herself she'd buried. Carl Jung would say Emma was projecting her untapped potential onto Luca, seeing in him the artist she could become. And the universe didn't bring Luca to be her lover, it brought him to be her guide. This is where the magic happens. The person you can't be with isn't meant to stay, they're meant to spark a transformation. Your job isn't to chase them, but to chase the qualities they reflect. For Emma, that meant picking up a paintbrush again. She enrolled in an art class, started creating, and slowly rediscovered the joy she'd lost. The more she embraced her creativity, the less she fixated on Luca. He hadn't completed her, he'd pointed her toward her own wholeness. Carl Jung's insight here is radical. The intensity of your feelings for this person is actually your soul calling you to grow. That electric connection, the way they seem to bypass your defenses and speak to something ancient within you, is a sign that your psyche is ready for a leap. But growth is never easy. It's messy, painful, and often requires you to confront parts of yourself you've ignored, like the fears that kept Emma from her art or the insecurities that told her she wasn't creative enough. Let's be real. It's tempting to romanticize this person, to believe they're your soulmate and the universe is just being unfair. But Carl Jung would challenge that story. He'd ask, what are they showing you about yourself? Maybe their confidence mirrors the strength you've been afraid to claim. Maybe their spontaneity reflects a freedom you've denied yourself. The qualities that draw you to them are clues to your own unlived life. And the heartbreak of not having them, that's the push you need to start living it. Here's a practical step. Write down 3 qualities you admire most in this person. Is it their courage, their passion, their ability to live authentically? Now ask yourself, where in my life can I cultivate these qualities? If they're brave, what's one bold move you could make? If they're passionate, what dream have you shelved that's begging to be revived? This isn't about becoming theme, it's about becoming you, the version of you that's been waiting to emerge. Emma's story isn't unique. Think of James, a quiet accountant who met Sarah, a woman who radiated confidence and charm. Their connection was instant, but Sarah was moving across the country for a new job. James was crushed, but through Carl Jung's lens, he saw the truth. Sarah's confidence mirrored the self-assurance he'd never allowed himself to express. He'd always played it safe, avoiding risks to stay comfortable. Inspired by Sarah, James started speaking up at work, taking on leadership roles, and even joined a public speaking group. The pain of losing Sarah faded as he claimed his own strength. The person you can't be with is a gift, not a curse. They're a mirror showing you the parts of yourself you've neglected, your dreams, your strengths, your potential. Carl Jung believed that every encounter like this is a step toward individuation, a chance to integrate the parts of you that make you whole. So don't cling to them. Thank them silently for showing you the way, then start walking the path they've illuminated. The love you feel isn't meant to trap you, it's meant to set you free. Why does this person, the one you can't be with, feel like they hold the key to a part of you that's been locked away forever? It's not just chemistry or coincidence, it's something deeper, something Carl Jung called the Anima or Animus. These are the hidden parts of your psyche, the feminine within men and the masculine within women, that shape how you see yourself and the world. When you meet someone who stirs your soul but slips beyond your grasp, Carl Jung would say, you're not just falling for them, you're encountering a living reflection of your inner wholeness. This connection, electric and undeniable, is the universe's way of urging you to embrace the parts of yourself you've kept in the dark. Let's dive into Carl Jung's idea. The anima is the feminine energy in a man intuition, emotion, creativity. The animus is the masculine energy in a woman logic, assertiveness, purpose. These inner archetypes often lie dormant, shaped by society, upbringing, or fear of being too much. When you meet someone you can't have, they often embody the qualities of your anima or animus, sparking a recognition so intense it feels like destiny. But here's the twist. They're not your soulmate in the rom-com sense. They're a mirror of the inner self you've yet to fully integrate, and their presence is a call to bridge that gap within you. Take Michael, a reserved software engineer who prided himself on logic and control. Then he met Clara, a free-spirited dancer whose emotional openness and creativity lit up every room. Their late-night talks felt like unlocking a vault. Michael found himself sharing dreams and fears he'd never voiced before. But Clara was leaving for a world tour, their paths destined to diverge. Heartbroken, Michael wondered why this connection felt so vital yet impossible. Through Carl Jung's lens, it became clear. Clara embodied Michael's anima, the emotional and creative side he'd suppressed to fit the mold of a serious man. Her presence wasn't meant to bind them together. It was meant to awaken the parts of Michael he'd ignored. Carl Jung believed that the anima or animus shows up in our lives to challenge us. If you're a woman who's always been nurturing but hesitant to take charge, your animus might appear as a bold, decisive person who inspires you to step into your power. If you're a man who's built walls around your emotions, your anima might arrive as someone who lives with raw vulnerability, daring you to feel deeply. The person you can't be with feels so essential because they represent the missing half of your psyche, not to complete you, but to show you that you're already whole, just not fully expressed. For Michael, Clara's departure was a turning point. Instead of chasing her, he started exploring his anima. He joined a writing group to express his emotions, took up photography to tap into his creativity, and began therapy to unpack why he'd buried his feelings. The more he embraced these qualities, the more he felt alive, as if Clara's energy had become part of him. She wasn't his forever, she was his catalyst, showing him how to live with heart and imagination. Now think of Lisa, a compassionate nurse who always put others first. She met David, a driven entrepreneur whose confidence and ambition left her in awe. Their connection was instant, but David was married, their bond confined to fleeting moments. Lisa felt shattered, but Carl Jung's concept of the Animus gave her clarity. David reflected her unclaimed assertiveness, the part of her that yearned to set boundaries and pursue her own goals. Inspired, Lisa enrolled in a leadership program, started saying no to draining demands, and launched a side project to mentor young nurses. David's presence didn't break her, it built her, pushing her to embody the strength she saw in him. Here's the hard truth. The pull you feel toward this person can trick you into thinking they're the answer. But Carl Jung would remind you that the answer lies within. The qualities that make them magnetic. Clara's creativity, David's confidence are already yours, waiting to be developed. The pain of not having them is really the pain of not yet being the fullest version of yourself. And the universe, in its strange wisdom, keeps them out of reach so you'll focus on the real work, integrating your anima or animus to become whole. So how do you start? Reflect on what this person represents. If you're drawn to their courage, where in your life can you be braver? If it's their vulnerability, how can you open your heart more? Try small steps. Journal about your feelings. Take a class that scares you, or speak up in a way you've avoided. For Michael, it was writing. For Lisa, it was leading. These actions aren't about replacing the person, they're about reclaiming the energy they awakened in you. Carl Jung saw the anima and animus as guides to individuation, the lifelong process of becoming who you truly are. The person you can't be with is a sacred messenger, sent to stir your soul and point you toward wholeness. They're not here to stay, they're here to show you the way. So let their light guide you, not blind you. Embrace the qualities they reflect, and you'll find that the love you felt for them was really love for the self you're becoming. The pain of loving someone you can't be with cuts deeper than most wounds. It's not just the sting of rejection or the ache of absence, it's the shattering of a dream that felt so close, so real. But Carl Jung, the master of the human psyche, would tell you this heartbreak isn't a punishment. It's a sacred initiation, a crucible where your soul is forged into something stronger, truer, and more alive. This person who lit up your world only to fade from it wasn't sent to break you. They were sent to break you open. Through Carl Jung's lens, this agony is a vital part of individuation, the lifelong journey to become your whole, authentic self. Let's explore why this pain is your greatest teacher and how it can lead you to a life more vibrant than you ever imagined. Carl Jung believed that our deepest wounds hold the seeds of our greatest growth. When you lose someone who feels like a piece of your soul, the grief can feel unbearable, like a betrayal by the universe itself. But this loss is no accident. It's a deliberate unraveling, stripping away illusions about who you are and what love means. The person you can't have forces you to confront truths you've avoided. Maybe you've settled for a smaller life, dimmed your light to fit in, or closed your heart to protect it. Their presence and their absence cracks open those defenses, revealing the raw, untamed potential beneath. Consider Sarah, a 40-year-old teacher who lived for other students, her family, her friends. She met Elena, a poet whose raw vulnerability and zest for life awakened something in Sarah she'd long buried. Their connection was profound, but Elena was battling a terminal illness, their time together cut short. Sarah's grief was overwhelming, but through Carl Jung's wisdom, she saw the deeper truth. Elena's light had exposed Sarah's own fear of living fully. She'd spent years playing it safe, avoiding risks or passions that might disrupt her perfect life. Elena's departure wasn't just a loss, it was a call to stop hiding. This is what Carl Jung meant by sacred heartbreak. It's not about getting what you want, it's about becoming who you're meant to be. The pain of losing this person burns away the parts of you that no longer serve, the people-pleasing, the self-doubt, the compromises that kept you small. It forces you to ask hard questions. What have I been afraid to feel? What dreams have I shelved? What version of myself am I ready to step into? For Sarah, the answers led her to write poetry, travel solo, and finally pursue a dream of opening an art therapy studio. Her heartbreak didn't destroy her, it rebuilt her, stronger and more authentic. Now think of Alex, a corporate lawyer who met Maya, a humanitarian whose compassion and courage left him speechless. Their bond was electric, but Maya's work took her to war-torn regions, their lives incompatible. Alex was gutted, but Carl Jung's ideas helped him reframe the pain. Maya reflected the empathy and purpose he'd buried under ambition and status. The ache of losing her pushed him to volunteer, mentor at-risk youth, and eventually shift to a career in non-profit law. His heartbreak wasn't a dead end, it was a doorway to a life aligned with his soul. Here's the beauty of Carl Jung's perspective. This pain isn't random. It's proportional to the transformation waiting to unfold. The deeper the love, the greater the potential for growth. The person you can't have has awakened a capacity for feeling, dreaming, and living that you might never have discovered otherwise. They've shown you that you're capable of a love that transcends possession, a passion that doesn't need a partner to burn brightly. This heartbreak is sacred because it's teaching you to love yourself and life with the same intensity you felt for them. So what do you do with this pain? Don't run from it. Lean into it. Carl Jung would say your wounds are where the light enters. Start by feeling the grief, fully journal it, cry it out, talk to a trusted friend. Then ask, what is this pain teaching me? Maybe it's showing you old wounds, like Sarah's fear of rejection or Alex's need for approval. Maybe it's pointing to dreams you've ignored, like a career change or a creative pursuit. Take one small step toward healing. Sign up for that class, set a new boundary, or simply give yourself permission to dream again. Here's a practical tool. Write a letter to this person, one you'll never send. Thank them for what they've shown you about yourself. Name the qualities they awakened: courage, creativity, vulnerability, and commit to nurturing them in your life. For Sarah, it was poetry. For Alex, it was service. This act isn't about closure, it's about claiming the gifts they left behind. Carl Jung's wisdom reminds us that growth always involves loss. The caterpillar dissolves to become the butterfly. The old you must crack open to make room for the new. The person you can't be with has shattered the version of you that was too small to hold the love and life you're capable of. Their absence is a challenge. Will you stay broken, or will you rise carrying their light within you? This sacred heartbreak is your invitation to live bigger, love deeper, and become whole. It's not the end of your story, it's the beginning of a chapter where you finally claim your full potential. So honor the pain, let it guide you, and know that the love you felt was never lost. It's transforming you into the person you were always meant to be. So here you stand, heart cracked open, staring at the truth Carl Jung laid bare. The person you can't be with wasn't sent to haunt you, they were sent to awaken you. They were a mirror, a spark, a sacred wound that revealed the vast, untamed potential within you. This heartbreak isn't the end of your story, it's the beginning of your transformation into the person you were always meant to be. Embrace the pain, chase the qualities they reflected, and let their light guide you to a life that's bolder, deeper, and truer than you ever dared to dream. The universe didn't bring them to break you, it brought them to build you. Now, it's your turn to rise. If this journey through Jung's wisdom struck a chord, hit that subscribe button and join our tribe at Jung Psyche Hub. Share your story in the comments. What did this person teach you about yourself? Like, share, and let's keep diving into the mysteries of the soul together. Your awakening starts now, don't miss it.